This is The Great Expanse by JohnBat426 here on YouTube. It is always a pleasure to record these videos. I love editing them. I love putting my unique spin on them for your listening pleasure, your viewing pleasure, I hope. But anyway, if you've liked the videos that you've seen thus far, hit the like button. If not, hit the dislike button. Share these videos with other people that you know that like comic book related stuff as much as you do. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell for notifications. Which one? All. Not personalized. I don't want underneath, but all. So the next time a new video's drop, you'll know about it second. I'll know about it first. What rap jam? Yeah, I almost lost it there. I was like, I was wheezing a little bit, but it's all good. You know what the video is about. You clicked on the thumbnail. James Gunn talks Creature Commandos kicking off the DCU. Episode counts. Okay? Creature Commandos is an eclectic group of like, it's sort of in the vein of Suicide Squad, sort of in the vein of Thunderbolts, except this is more of a period piece, I believe. I think it's post-World War II where, you know, Frankenstein is resurrected and made a part of the team. And they kind of just pluck different characters out of DC lore, like Dr. Phosphorus, who was typically a Batman villain, a modern-day Batman villain. But I think they're all just going to congeal, C-O-N-G-E-A-L, great word for The Great Expanse by JohnBat426. And he kind of just mashed them all together. And perhaps it will be modern. We'll find out as soon as we read the article. The website is Superhero Hype. Sorry about that. Hitting the volume button made the whole thing go off. But anyway, Superhero Hype is the website. Almost rhymed, but not quite. Now that did rhyme. Okay. There's that picture that we saw when James Gunn announced the partial slate of Gods and Monsters. Okay. The author is Anthony Nash. We may or may not have done an article by Anthony Nash, but let's get right into it. James Gunn has detailed some of the thinking behind the animated series Creature Commandos, kicking off the new DC universe and how stories will dictate episode counts going forward. Interesting. Speaking to fans on the social media platform Threads, he's always on Threads a lot. I don't think I have a Threads count. Get it? Threads count? When you buy your sheets. Thread. Anyway, Gunn was asked why Creature Commandos was picked as the project to lead off the DCU. Besides being done already, Creature Commandos, Gunn said the thought was that it worked really well as a precursor to Superman Legacy. Good answer, James. Elsewhere, Gunn also spoke about the previously confirmed 7-episode count for Season 1 of the series. Season 1 sort of lets us know that there will be additional following seasons. Why would it have a 1 if there's not going to be a 2? All right. The DC Studios co-CEO was asked about deciding on episode counts. Gunn said that they will let the story dictate how long the show runs. And for Creature Commandos, it just happens to be 7. Okay? Creature Commandos is based on the DC Comics team created by Mxnt and Pat Broderick. The 7-episode series will feature the voices of Frank Grillo as Rick Flag Sr. and Dara Varma as Bride of Frankenstein, David Harbour as Eric Frankenstein, Maria Bakalova as Princess Ilana Rostovich, Alan Tudyk as Dr. Phosphorus. Alan Tudyk does an amazing job as Clayface and the Joker and Harley Quinn in the animated series, as well as K2SO in Rogue One. Zoe Chow as Nina Mazursky, Sean Gunn as G.I. Robot / Weasel, and Steve Agee as John Economos, with Viola Davis reprising Amanda Waller in animated form. Alright, so it looks like we're keeping Viola Davis. The series is created and written by Gunn. The upcoming TV adaptation serves as the first series of the rebooted DC Universe, which will be part of its first phase called Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters. That is a partial slate. Okay? It is executive produced by Gunn, Peter Safran, and Sam Register. Producers are Lisa Hallbauer, Kit Brown, and Karina Benesh. And that is the end of the article. So, we don't really get much about this article except there are these 7 episodes. We do know that it is the first thing that is going to kick off. And I'm careful as I said this because James Gunn himself has said that it really begins with Superman Legacy. That really kicks off the DCU. Creature Commandos is almost an appetizer. It's sort of like a placeholder. sort of between the DCEU, which concluded with Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. And it's like bridging Superman Legacy, basically. Because guess what? We don't even know if Creature Commandos is going to be part of the DCU. And I know it says that it's kicking off the DCU, but he said Superman Legacy is kicking it off. So we really don't know what is until Superman Legacy. So I could see this first season, seven episodes, bridging DCEU and DCU. And then as soon as we get Superman Legacy, we may never see or hear from those characters again. I'm just saying, it is what it is. So, Creature Commandos, what is my anticipation level for the partial slate of James Gunn's Gods and Monsters? Okay, let's start, and hopefully I'll remember the order in all the series and movies. For Creature Commandos, it's new. It's going to be kicking off some sort of a reboot of the DCU. All right, my anticipation level is probably a 6.5 out of 10. So it's like I'm interested in where the story will lead us. I'm interested in the reach of the series. The characters themselves, I have no investment in any of them. Zero. None of them. I'm just being honest. I have no interest in any of the characters in Creature Commandos. So my anticipation is a 6.5. Not much. Superman Legacy, 10. Okay, I believe there are 5 DCU films that were announced. Superman Legacy, my anticipation is a 10. Batman, the Brave and the Bold, 9. Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, 9.5. Okay. Swamp Thing, 7. I'm not big on Swamp Thing. The Authority, which is was going to be another movie, probably 6.5. Just to be honest about the 5 movies that were announced. Superman, Batman, and Supergirl are the ones I really want to see. Why isn't Batman the Brave and the Bold at 10? I will explain that to you. We have so many Batman movies. So many. And sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes that's a bad thing. Okay? Because Batman has a rich history in fiction, in storytelling. So you can get different authors writing Batman, different artists drawing Batman. So all these different movies, they do kind of serve a purpose. But again, it's a whole lot of them. And Robert Pattinson's Batman is coming out in 2025. So it's like, between the two, The Brave and the Bold and The Batman Part 2, I want to see The Batman Part 2 more than I want to see The Batman, The Brave and the Bold. Let's just put it right there, okay? Because I like the tone of The Batman. Am I ghosting? I like the tone of The Batman, okay? And I believe that The Batman Part 2 will probably just carry along that dark, sinister tone. Even with Batman having his own character arc in The Batman, okay? And becoming somebody that can be followed and not feared as much by ordinary citizens. Remember, he wants to scare the bejesus out of criminals. He calls them a cowardly, superstitious lot. He doesn't want to scare average citizens, okay? So we see that arc. We see how he's trying to be less brooding to ordinary citizens, to people that don't break the law. And he wants to still scare the bejesus out of the criminals. So I'm more invested in The Batman. Will I see it? Yes. I said it's a 9. Yes. I still want to see it. The Brave and the Bold. But when you introduce Damian Wayne, that means you got to introduce Talia al Ghul. You have to introduce Ra's al Ghul. You have to introduce the League of Assassins or the League of Shadows, whatever they're legally allowed to use. We've already seen a movie called Batman Begins with the League of Shadows or the League of Assassins and Ra's al Ghul. But you gotta do that to bring you backstory on Damian Wayne and how he came into being. Batman and Talia slept together, and they had a child named Damian Wayne, who was raised by his grandfather Ra's al Ghul and his mother Talia al Ghul. So we're gonna see a retread of the League of Assassins. And Ra's al Ghul is one of my favorite Batman villains, one of my favorite comic book villains. So now we gotta know who's gonna be cast as Ra's al Ghul, who's gonna be cast as Talia al Ghul, who's going to be Batman? Who's going to be Robin? Because we're finally getting Robin in live action again. But why not start with Dick Grayson? That's why I'm not at a 10 to see The Brave and the Bold. Okay, but a 9, that's still good. All right. Supergirl. We've never seen Supergirl in live action. And Millie Alcock from the House of the Dragon, which I've never seen, okay, will be starring in the titular role of Supergirl. Alright? Again, Swamp Thing and the Authority, lower. Alright. Let's go to the series, and I hope I can remember all the series. Waller, which I think is going to fall in that time frame along with Creature Commandos, I believe. I believe that comes out this year, Waller? I'm not sure. But it definitely drops before Superman Legacy. My anticipation, because I believe they're going to include Team Peacemaker with the Waller series. 7. And I'm kind of just throwing it out there. 7. I don't have much anticipation for that. I'll just be honest, alright? And I'm just thinking of these series as I come along. Booster Gold, 7. I'm not really anticipating that much. Paradise Lost, 9. I believe that this series can be a sleeper hit. Perhaps it'll talk about how the Amazons were sort of mistreated by the gods and treated as a servant class, and then they had to sort of fight for their freedoms. The expulsion of all men from the island. The fact that they guard the gates of Tartarus traditionally. Okay, the gates to Tartarus is basically the DC hell. The domain of the god of death, Hades. Perhaps we'll see Hades and what is her name? I can't. Hippolyta, the mother of Wonder Woman. Perhaps we'll see them create Wonder Woman on the beach, or however they choose to bring about the conception of Wonder Woman. I'm really anticipating that one. Okay, and that fast, I think I said an 8 or 8.5. I don't remember. Okay, but it's high. It's really high, like K2SO. Lanterns, 10. 10. Lanterns, 10. I believe there were more than just these series. And I can't think of what the other series are. But that's sort of my rating as far as my expectations go. Movie-wise, Superman, The Brave and the Bold, and Supergirl are the highest that I'm anticipating. Series-wise, Green Lantern and Paradise Lost. Those are the ones that I'm anticipating the most. Will I see everything, including Booster Gold, The Authority, and Swamp Thing? Yes. Because it's time for DC to take its rightful place. Okay? I don't know how much backlash or pushback I'm going to get for this statement I'm about to make here. But I was thinking about this earlier today. And I know the video is going kind of long. DC tells way better stories than Marvel. Okay? When it comes to storytelling, it's not even close. Now, you know me. My favorite superhero is, yes, Spider-Man, who's a Marvel property, so I'm not DC fanboying. My favorite superhero group, you may know that from seeing a video I've made, the X-Men, even more than the Justice League. So my favorite characters are probably in Marvel, but DC tells better stories, okay? They welcome artists in to tell stories that have nothing to do with established IPs, intellectual properties. The great Alan Moore, the great Neil Gaiman, they've told fantastic, timeless stories and graphic novels that don't have a superhero in sight that is a part of the DC pantheon. Which ones? I'm glad you asked. Watchmen, the greatest graphic novel of all time. No DC properties in it. Even though they are DC properties, but no established IPs. No Batman, no Wonder Woman, no Green Arrow, no Superman, no Aquaman, Brainiac, Luthor, nobody's in it. V for Vendetta, a DC property. Neil Gaiman, Sandman, DC properties. They just allow writers to tell awesome stories under the DC imprint. I can't think of a single story of a Marvel property that doesn't include traditional Marvel characters. If you know one, if you know of one, please write it in the comment section. And if you like this video, if you like my take on DC and Marvel, hit the like button. If not, don't hit the dislike button. Okay? Forget the dislike button. Alright? But let's have a discourse. Let's have a dialogue. Write a comment or dissertation in the comment section. David Brent, please let them know where those comments or dissertations go, sir. There. See? He's telling you where to write your comments. Down there. Do your part. I'll do my part so the Great Expanse by John Bat 426 can and will expand. It's in the name.